Hola y bienvenido a Cala de Sevilla. Hello and welcome to Cala de Sevilla. I'll be your tour guide for today, and we're going to be taking a guided tour of the village. The village was founded in 1250, so it is a historic village, and there are many landmarks throughout the village itself. As you can hear, and see, it's a rather windy day today, but that won't prevent us from seeing all the sights that Cala de Sevilla has to offer. So before we begin the tour, are there any questions? Oh, yes, sir? Okay. Yeah, the tour won't be very long. It's just going to be 15 or 20 minutes. And then after which time you're going to be able to roam around the village for about an hour or so before heading back to the cruise ship. I'll point out some key areas of interest that you might want to return to during your free time after the tour. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Do you have a question? Yes, there are actually several cafes in the village itself. There are actually 5 to be precise. And so I'll be showing you, as we go on the tour, you'll definitely have a chance to look in those cafes and have a drink after the tour. Okay. Okay, let's head out then. We're going to go down the main road here. And as you can see, off to the left here is the bakery. The bread here, they sell loaves of bread, and it's called barra de pan. And I do recommend you come back here during your free time to have some bread. It's absolutely delicious. It's baked daily. It's very much like the French bread, the baguettes, but they call it barra de pan. You'll also find that they make all sorts of different pastries in the bakery. Yeah. And today is actually cake day, so they make all sorts of different cakes. Every Friday they hold a cake day where they make all sorts of tortas or tartas, and you'll be able to find all sorts of delicious treats there. My favorite in particular is the raisin cake that they make, and they sprinkle it with powdered sugar. I do recommend that. Okay, we'll be moving on here. This is one of the oldest houses in Cala de Sevilla, and it was built in 1580. All of the structures that were built previous to that date were either torn down or time basically wore them down. So this is one of the oldest structures, and they actually have done a minimal amount of restoration, but the house is in very good shape just because of the construction methods that they did carry out back then. And they don't allow tours in this home just because it is a private residence. Okay. We'll head down a little bit further down this street right here. As you can see, all the roads are still made of cobblestone. And they do take great care and a great pride in the village itself, so you'll notice that everything is immaculate. There's no trash or litter on the streets, and they clean the sidewalks on a regular basis. They do take great pride in the appearance of the city and the cleanliness of the village. Okay, we're going to head down here. This is the City Hall. This building is from 1852. And it's actually right next to the local police station, Policia. Yes, as you'll notice there it says Germente. That means basically the city of, or the jurisdiction of. Yeah. All right. We're going to keep walking down the street and then we're going to make a right. And as you make a right, you'll directly see the church, which was built in 1725. Now, each of the villages in this part of Spain has a patron saint. And for the patron saint, usually they'll have a week-long celebration once a year. The celebration year happens to fall in August, and they'll have a week-long celebration in which vendors come in and sell crafts and local foods, and they'll have various religious activities and ceremonies. Now, you're free to go in the church and roam around during your free time. That's perfectly all right. They do open up the church every day, and as you'll notice, when the hour strikes, the church bell will ring, and it's not a recorded bell, it's the actual bell that will sound. As we move on a bit further here, you'll notice that we're going to get a beautiful vantage point of the sea. It's the Mediterranean Sea, of course, and yeah, please do stay kind of a little bit further back from the guardrail. There is a good-sized fence there, but we just want to be better to be safe than sorry. As you can see, as you look out, it's a beautiful day today, even though it is a bit windy. The wind seems to have blown the fog away from the sea, so you have a gorgeous view of it. And that village down there is actually called Calp. Yes, there's actually a variation. Some people call it Calpe, and some people call it Calp. It depends upon the language you speak. And there are two different languages spoken here, actually. There's Valencian, and then there's Spanish. In Valencian, it almost has a bit of a French influence to it. And as you can see throughout the village itself, all of the signs will be in both languages. So you'll see the top will be Valencian, and then the text on the bottom will be Spanish. And we do get a bit of a lot of tourism here. It's one of their main economic resources, and mainly people from France, Britain, and even Russia, Belgium, and Holland kind of frequent the location for holidays. You should notice that on the sea there's a few sailboats. Once a year they do hold a sailboat race, and yeah, it's quite enjoyable. Okay, and I did want to bring your attention to, if you look off to the right there, kind of toward the horizon, there is the lighthouse. It's the local lighthouse, and that was built in 1715. And yeah, it's quite a gorgeous structure. It's still standing. Okay, we're going to go a little bit further into the village now. And right here, this is actually the local pharmacy. And now, normally pharmacies aren't particularly covered in tours, but this particular pharmacy was built in 1810. And as you can see on the shelves, they have some historic pharmaceutical items. And yes, this used to be more like a general store. And so they used to also sell food here as well as pharmaceuticals. So you'll see a bunch of historic items here. Okay, as we head on a little bit further, we're going to go up this hill here. Those who may be in wheelchairs, there is a ramp off to the side right here, so that's no problem at all. As we get to the top here, you'll have a perfect view of the castle. The castle was built shortly after the city was founded in 1301. And it was destroyed 200 years later by invaders, but they rebuilt it 100 years after that, and they've started recently restoring it, just about 2 decades ago, so it's in the restoration process. Okay, as we walk a little bit further here, this used to be the county, or the local jail. It was burnt to the ground 145 years ago, roughly, and yeah, they left it as is. So you'll see the walls are missing in some areas. You can still see some of the wrought iron bars, though, in various places. Yes, it was an active jail for approximately 300 years. Yeah. Okay. And we'll walk a little bit further here. This is the local museum. So that's the Cala de Sevilla Museum. And this is quite an interesting story about this museum. It's actually a converted house. So this was one of the oldest houses in Cala de Sevilla, and they essentially renovated it and turned it into a museum, so you can tour it and kind of have an idea of what life was like back then. And be able to see the kitchens, and the museum also includes a variety of the household items and tools that were used in the history of Cala de Sevilla. One particular item of note is you'll notice there's a basement area there, but it's not your traditional basement. It's essentially where they used to keep livestock, such as donkeys, mules, and they used it as a heat source, so they would generally put that particular room under the bedrooms, or the master bedroom in particular, and the heat from the animals would basically rise and keep the inhabitants warm during the winter months. Yes, it can get quite cold here in the winter, but the summers are picturesque, yeah, especially with the sea views, and you get the nice sea breeze blowing in. We're not in a valley or anything, so you have a direct sea breeze there. I do want to draw your attention off to the right here. This is the best possible view we can get of the mountain. Yes, this mountain is a Zulu mountain, and it's one of the most beautiful mountains in the area, simply because of the way the formations have grown in. You'll have 3 or 4 waterfalls during the springtime that kind of cascade down the mountain, and as you can tell, the top and many of the sides of it are green and lush with trees and foliage. It's an absolutely gorgeous mountain. It's often featured on postcards, and yeah, it's kind of the village's pride and joy, so, and deservedly so. All right, we're going to keep walking here. Oh, and something that I did forget to mention about the mountain is 3 times a year they have annual, basically 3 times a year they have treks up the mountain itself. So participants will gather at the bottom, and their tour guide will basically take them to the top, and it takes several hours to get to the peak. All right, we're going to keep walking here. And this is the last stop of the tour today. This is actually the town square, and it was built in 1825. Before this, it was just kind of a grass field, and they built it, and the town built up around it. And as you'll see, the statue here is the founder of the village. Yes. So, yeah, this is actually the primary place that they hold the festival every year for the patron saint. And so this is primarily where the vendors will set up, and they also hold annual music festivals here as well. Are there any questions about Cala de Sevilla? Yes? Yes, you'll see Throughout the village itself, there are approximately 250 homes, so it's not that large of a village whatsoever. There are 2 supermarkets. One was just recently built, and there are approximately 5 cafes, and there's 1 bakery. That 1 bakery we walked by, so it's not a very large village by any means, but it is quite quaint and charming. Okay, if there are no further questions, I'll let you all kind of mingle about the village, and I'll meet you back here in an hour to go back to the cruise ship and enjoy your time here. Okay, fantastic.